few years ago, I was in Rome and I had the most beautiful pasta I have ever had. It was a combination of mussels, so small black mussels just like this, and broccoli. It's a really fast pasta to make, very easy to follow, a big pot of rapidly boiling water. Now, some salt in the water and then in with the broccoli. Once this water comes back up to the boil, you know that's the exact time to take out the broccoli. Now, while that's happening, we can get on to the mussels. Here I've got a large pan. Now, this pan has been heating up for a while, and I know it's hot because the thermo spot is solid red. First, we'll add a little bit of olive oil, and just a small amount. And then we're going to add the mussels. So in they go. I'm also going to add some white wine. And 1 bay leaf. That's a really big bay leaf, but it's got loads of flavour. And now the lid goes on. Now, these are going to take about 30 seconds. You know when they're cooked, when they start to open up. Once they start to open up, I'm going to remove the meat from the shells and I'm going to strain off the liquid, because that liquid is going to form the most amazing sauce for our pasta. Okay, so our mussels are done, and you can see that I've taken most of the meat out of the shells. I've kept a few here, so just 3 of the mussels in the shells just for presentation at the end. And in this jug over here, I've collected all of the beautiful juices that have come out of the mussels. Now, you can see what I'm doing here with our blanched broccoli. I'm just roughly chopping it, so we've almost got broccoli crumb. This is going to make this sauce vibrant green. It's almost going to look like pesto. Now that that's done, I'm just going to prep a few more things. So classic Italian recipes like this always call for a good amount of garlic. So I've got 3 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to roughly slice the garlic. I don't want it to be too fine, just like that. 3 to 4 anchovy fillets. Now, I love to use anchovies. Anchovies are also salty, so again, we don't need to add that much salt to this. Also, I need some chilli in this, so fresh chilli here that I'm going to finely slice. I'm using these long red chilies that aren't as hot as the small bullet chilies, so I'm going to leave the seeds in and the membrane. Right, now that that's all done, we can get our pasta in. So I'm using spaghetti. When I had this in Rome, they used orecchietti. So you can really use any pasta you like for this. I'm just going to use half of this pack, and I'm using the same water as I used for the broccoli. In it goes, and this pasta is not going to take long at all to cook. I want it to be al dente, so I'll just give it a quick mix. And it's going to come back up to the boil, and I might even pop the lid on so it goes a little bit faster. My pan has been heating up again. This is just on a medium heat this time. Use the same pan, saves the washing up, and use a pan that's quite large, because we're not only going to add the garlic, the chilli and the anchovies at this stage, we're also going to add the pasta, so you do need lots of room to toss everything together. Add some olive oil now, because this is also going to be an integral part of this sauce, and you want to keep an eye on it at this stage because you don't want to burn that garlic. So now I can see that this garlic is golden brown, so I'm going to add the stock. And I'm going to allow this just to bubble away and reduce by 1/3. Don't over-reduce this. If you over-reduce it, it's going to be extra salty. So in with our broccoli, good few handfuls in there. Perfect. Give that a toss in that really nice concentrated mussel sauce. Perfect. And this is not a really wet sauce. It's all about the vegetables and the mussels. So I'll just reserve these 3 shells. In with our mussels. You do want to leave the mussels to the last minute because you don't want to overcook them. We'll toss them in that delicious broccoli. And now for the pasta. So I'll turn the water off. and I'm going to add them with tongs. Now, instead of straining this, I like to use tongs because I don't mind if a little bit of the water goes into this. Now, this water is a little bit starchy, so it is going to help round off this sauce and make it a little bit glossy, and it helps to thicken it a little bit. Okay, now that that's in, I'm just going to toss it one more time, turn the heat off, and I'm going to add just a few finishing touches, some cracked pepper, so a good amount of cracked pepper for this, and some lemon zest just to freshen the whole thing up and zest this straight into the pan so all of those essential lemon oils go directly onto the pasta, and a little bit of butter. I think a little bit of butter really mellows the whole thing down. So I'll use half a knob of butter, and this is just going to melt in the final toss. Look at those colours. I love this dish. Perfect. Now all we need to do is plate up. So a nice, generous portion. This amount of pasta will feed at least 4 people. And one more generous amount there, with lots of that broccoli. And I'm using mussels for this, but you could actually do the same thing with vongole, so pippies, or if you love prawns, you could also do this with prawns, so you can change it up. I'm gonna garnish it with those mussels. That smells like Rome for me. I remember having this dish, and I do this every couple of weeks because it's easy, it's inexpensive, it feeds a lot of people, and most importantly, it tastes delicious.